From the studios of Foxboro Cable Access, located in the center of Foxborough, Massachusetts, you are watching Around Foxborough.
Hi, welcome to Around Foxborough. I'm your host, Tim Green, and tonight we have with us Jeffrey Hartman. Jeffrey is scheduled to perform at the Indianapolis Opera 50th Anniversary Gala in March of 2025 and is a tenor, an opera singer. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Jeffrey, can you share maybe a little bit about your early experience with music and what inspired you to pursue opera?
Well, when I was I don't know how old I was. I must have been in grade school at the time because we had to go to bed at 9 o'clock at night. And I was watching with mom and dad on PBS. I was watching Turandot. And at 9 o'clock came around and mom and dad said, you need to go to bed. And I went to the bed, waited until I heard my dad snoring, came back out. And this was back when you had the dial turn to turn down the volume. And so I turned it all the way down and pulled the little knob out and then turned it up and stared at the TV. And then my freshman year in college, my choir director from high school, Mrs. Jean Miller, took me to go see my first live opera, which was La Boheme with Indianapolis Opera, in which then, what did I do with that? Then after that, I called Indianapolis Opera on Monday morning because it was a Sunday matinee. And I told them that I wanted to audition for them. And they set me up with an audition time. And it was actually that Friday at like 10 o'clock in the morning. And I went over and I sang. And about a week later, I got a manila envelope in the mail from Indianapolis Opera. I didn't open it. I took it and went over to my old high school and sat it on Mrs. Miller's desk. And she said, "What is this?" I said, "I don't know. You'll have to open it to find out." She said, "I can't open it. It has your name on it." I said, "Well, I'll give you permission." So she opened it, and it was contracts for all three chorus and also the young artist program.
Wow.
And so that's what started my career, in which is why they're having this 50th anniversary. Even though it's the 50th anniversary gala, it is everybody that has sung there before.
Oh, wow.
So I am one of, I don't know, maybe 15 singers that will be singing on this event. And I'll be singing from Mozart's Idomeneo, Flor del Mar.
Okay. Can you share maybe some of your early experiences with music and your influence maybe growing up in Indiana? What inspired you to get into music?
Well, my family was always, when we were growing up, we were always involved in music. My grandfather, which is my mom's father, he used to play for the McGuire sisters. He played and was a singer himself. He played on the Johnny Cash show, radio show. And then my father, his sister, who's a teacher, she also was a voice performance major. And so music was sort of in our family. And then I was in high school, and my brother, who we all were in band, me and my brother and my sister, we all started off in band. I played clarinet, saxophone, and tuba trombone and percussion. And my sister played flute, and my brother played the clarinets and saxophone. Um, and then I was going out for the basketball team, yeah, because of course Indiana's huge.
Indiana, yep. Right.
And so I a dog messes with my train of thought. I'm like, where was I? But I was going out for basketball, and my brother had started working with the show choir. And Mrs. Miller is like, oh, we need a bass. We need a bass. And this was back before I became a tenor. I was a bass at that time. And he's like, oh, my brother can sing. He's a bass. And so after basketball practice, my brother brought me to the choir room. And he brought me to see her. And she's like, okay, sing Amazing Grace. Because that was one of the things that she always had had everybody sing first. Because she figured everybody knew it. It's not very high, it's not very low. And so we sang through it, and she's like, I want you in my show choir. And I said, well, I'm going out for basketball right now, but if I don't make the team, then I'll come and sing. Well, obviously I didn't make the team.
It looked like it worked out okay.
Yeah, it worked out okay.
Yep.
My brother got to see me in action on the basketball court.
Mm-hmm.
We were short one player, and so the coach who was trying us out was playing with us, and he went in for a layup, and here I am. At the time I was about maybe 95 pounds, soaking wet, and skinny as a rail. He comes in running and doing a layup, and I block him. And he throws the ball at me. But of course, I'm so thin, he totally misses me because I'm just...
Not much to hit.
There's not much of me.
Yeah.
And that's what started my singing, is that right there. And it actually was a really good thing for me because being dyslexic, or at the time we didn't know what it was, because it was very slight. And but for some reason music helps line up the words for me. And it really helped me learn how to learn the way I need to learn.
It's a great story.
So
in 2011, you won the Wagner Society of New York Award.
Correct.
It's a pretty significant achievement. How would you think that recognition impacted your career?
Well, I think it helped me access the Wagner side. As far as the Italian stuff, I don't think it had much to do with it, but it definitely helped with some clout.
Yeah, booking shows and things like that, getting your name out there.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And then you have, then Lyric Opera of Chicago, I was the understudy for Cavaradossi and Tosca. I was also the understudy for the Cavaradossi and Tosca with Boston Lyric back in, I don't know when that was. It was maybe I can't remember when that was.
That's okay.
But yeah, so they had asked me to cover after singing it at Lowell House at Harvard University. And yeah, so then went to sing after that I went and sang Bacchus and Ariadne with Seattle Opera. And after that, I went to Germany for an audition tour. And when I came back, I got to sing it again in Palm Beach Opera with Amber Wagner, who sang with Johann Botta.
Wow.
So
Now, excuse my if I mispronounce any Italian or French, but you performed in productions like Turandot and Les Prophètes. Could you discuss maybe your experiences with these roles and what they meant to you?
well, Turandot was my first opera that I sang with Lowell House Opera back in 2007 or 2008. And then I hadn't sung it since then until I went and sang it at Chemnitz, Theater Chemnitz in Chemnitz, Germany. And that really was my main staple in Germany, is that I was the person that they called for the Kalaf in Turandot. So I sang it with, I sang 3 seasons with Chemnitz. Then I understudied at Hamburg Staatsoper under Gregory Kunde. And then I sang it with Regensburg Theater in Regensburg, Germany. And then Le Prophète was the biggest undertaking for me because I hadn't sung it before. I got the audition notice and I prepared all 3 arias. Well, there's actually more than 3 arias, but I prepared 3 arias from memory and went and sang the audition. And then that evening I got called and they offered me the role. I had to be prepared in 3 weeks, 5 acts.
Wow.
And it is longer than Meistersinger. So it was 5 hours and 30 minutes approximately long. So I learned that really quickly. They were surprised that I had, I mean, given the rehearsal period for Germany and Europe is a lot longer than they do here in US. In US, you maybe have 2-3 weeks of rehearsals. In Germany, you have 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
And sometimes longer. So, but I had 2 acts memorized by the time I got to my first day of rehearsals.
How do you go about preparing for something like that?
Well, I first have to translate word for word everything. But what I do is I sit there and I count how many pages of music that I actually sing on, even if it's just ha or just half a word. I count that as a page, and then I say, okay, I have 3 weeks to learn, so I want to have it all memorized by the second week. So that's 14 days. So then what I do is I've counted the number of pages. I divide it by 14, and that's how many pages that I need to translate, learn, and memorize within that first day.
Right. Wow.
Or each day. So it's very intense. When you're not working a day job, it's very easy to do. But when you're working another day, when you're working another job, it's kind of difficult.
I can imagine.
It can be done.
Yeah, especially where opera combines various art forms like that. How do you approach the theatrical aspects of the performance?
Well, the theatrical, if the stage manager or the stage director gives you the liberty, then it's easy to pull from experiences, easy to, you need to know what everybody is singing, not just yourself. So I usually take cue cards and I write down all the words. If it's not me, then it's a different color. So that way I know what they're singing and I know what I'm singing. And it also helps when you're learning and you having to go to the grocery store and you're like going through the music in your head and you're like, oh, what was that word? Or what am I supposed to sing here? And so you can just pull it out of your, if it's a index card, you can just pull it out of your pocket and go, oh, that's what it is. And I usually keep it in each act. So that way each act has its own binder clip.
Okay. So using
it makes it
flashcards.
easier to learn. Yeah.
Okay. Are there any roles or composers you feel a special connection to?
Puccini is a big one. I mean, that's been my, you could say that's what I've gotten hired the most for. But all of them have a little, I mean, I'm trying to think. I mean, Puccini just has a really easy, Puccini knew how to write for my voice, I feel. Although delving into some Wagner, I feel like Wagner also had written from my voice now. But it's yeah, it's kind of interesting how connection, I mean, there's something to say about Puccini where, I mean, each person that walks in onto stage, you have ba-dum bum bum ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-dum, ba-dum, da-dum, and that's sort of Rodolfo's thing, and then you have Mimi's coming in, and this each person has their own little music that this is what it is when it comes in. So I mean, then you have Butterfly. I mean, Madame Butterfly is probably the most, I mean, it's not the most performances. The most performances I've done is for Turndot, but the most number of productions that I've had was for Madame Butterfly.
Okay.
So I do feel a very big connection with Puccini, and maybe that also has to do with the fact that my first opera to see on television was Turndot. My first opera to be seen in real time was La Bohème. So,
do you have any advice for maybe aspiring opera singers?
Don't do it. I'm just kidding. You, as a singer, as a performer in general, you have to be, you have to find a way. How do I put that? I'm thinking in German right now. 98% of the time that you audition is being rejected. So you need to have someone or somebody that you can rely upon to talk about how you're feeling. And your mental health is the biggest thing, because the rejection can hinder you. You think that you're not good enough because they give you all kinds of responses. You need a supportive agent, which is why I went into the agency business, because the singers need to have this feeling of they don't need. We already have an issue with being rejected.
Right.
But when you don't have an agent that believes in you, then it makes it harder for the singer, because then the singer is thinking, "Oh, is he going to drop me if I don't sing well?" And like I said to my singers, I said, I know how you sing, because 90% of the time that we sing, we sing what we can sing at our 100% at that point in time. It may not be the best we've sung ever, but at that point in time, we sang our 100% that we could at that time. And you need an agent in order to support you through this, because otherwise you're sitting there questioning what you're doing.
Yeah.
And like I said, maybe you feel like he's going to drop you.
Right. Have you seen any parallels from being an opera singer to then becoming an agent and representing your fellow opera singers?
Yeah, I mean, knowing the voice like I do helps me as an agent, because you can hear a voice and know that it has something to give. Do they always do the same thing? Because we're all human, we never do anything the same. We can get close to something. We can get close to the way we did, but we can never do it exactly the same, because if we did it exactly the same, then we would be robots. So my thing about being an agent is telling them and supporting them and saying, it doesn't matter how you do. I know you want the work, and I will support you, and I will defend you for how you sang, and say, I know that you may not have thought that they were great, but I know that they are. I handpicked these people. A lot of the people that are on my roster, I have either sung with no, actually all of them I have sung with. No, that's not true. There's the two basses on my roster and a new soprano that I just took that I hadn't sung with before or worked with before. But you can tell a lot in videos, especially when they're with orchestra. When they're with the piano, you can't always tell how big the voice is.
Gotcha.
But if they're with the orchestra and they're in the hall, you can tell.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I find a lot of parallels to my singing, being a performer and being a manager.
Okay. How do you see the role of opera in today's cultural landscape?
Well, for me, it's it's hard to tell here in the U.S. because, like I just came back in November. But in Europe, I mean, it's a part of culture. It's something that is supported by the government. I mean, given they take out quite a bit of taxes on your checks and stuff, but it's a it's valued, unlike here, where I mean, but each state has its own theater, and that theater belongs to the state, and so it is supported by the state. I mean, think about even Boston Lyric. I don't think that you can find a ticket for 18 euros unless you're a student.
No, I wouldn't think so.
I think it's all in the. I think the cheapest ticket is maybe $40 or $50. And in Germany, the cheapest ticket you can get is an $18 ticket. It may not have. You may be up in the top of the thing, but the acoustics is greater or better the higher you are, or the farther away from the stage you are, because that gives the voice and the instruments time to combine, to coagulate. Sit. And so it gives time for that, and they might look like little ants on the stage, but or maybe bigger than ants, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. I've sat farther away at a show before.
Really,
trust me.
For me, it's really the best seat in the house.
Yeah. And I think we actually have a clip of you sing that we'll put right into the video here as well.
Okay.
Tra multa
That was great, Jeffrey. Thank you.
Thank you.
If people wanted to find you for maybe be an agent or find all your work, where would they? Oh, looks like the dog got you. Where would they find you?
They can find me at www.tenorjeffrey, TENORJEFFREY .de.
Okay.
I haven't changed to COM yet, or back to COM. Or the management is hartmanartistmanagement.com.
Great. And thank you so much for
Hartman.
Hartmen.
MAN.
MAN. All right. Well, Jeffrey, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And I was your host, Tim Green, and this is you can find all of our other content at fcatv.org. Thank you so much.